Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start with the front page. What is there to learn? And if you look at the front page, the first news item, Supreme Court will hear petitions to stay CAA on April 9. There's one word petitions, a familiar word, many of you may know. It means a written request signed by many people to the court. We can also say it is, think of the word appeal. Petition means what? Appeal. And this is an important news item one has to read, whether preparing for banks or civil services, an important topic. Coming to here, SC issues summons to Ramdev in Patanjali misleading ads case. There's one important word here, summons. Summons can be a verb, summons can be a noun. As a verb, summon, summoned, summoned. It's a regular verb, not that important. But as a noun, it is important because summons is singular. What is a plural? Summonses. Summonses is a plural. That is important. One has to remember. They have given in a few exams. Summons is not the plural form. Summonses is a plural form. One more news item, tariff regulator snubs revenue projections at Adani Airport in Thiruvananthapuram. Here, snub, actually the word snub goes with everyday English. Snub means to ignore someone, not to give respect to someone, and to look down upon someone. Snub, ignore, not respect. Coming to the editorial page, we have today's editorial, the one I'm going to deal with, selection and election. All about the election commission, an important editorial. Length and breadth, it is about Rahul Gandhi's yatra, not that important, political news. Coming to the main editorial, the curious case of Sozama Ipe and the Vechur cow, not that important. And there's nothing to learn as such. Curious, I'm sure you all know the word curious, but usually I give the example. Children are always curious, but a better word, curious, we also use the word inquisitive. Inquisitive is an important word. You all should have inquisitive nature while preparing for competitive exams. Coming to the next news item, ties that epitomize India's neighborhood first policy. Epitome, epitomize. Epitome means a typical example of something. This is also an important word. This is what you can learn from the headlines. Now let us go to what is the enrichment based on today's editorial, this session. Reading skill. Today's editorial is related to polity. Election Commission, elections, they go with polity. Comprehension skill, Election Commission. Vocabulary enrichment. Surprisingly, today I have brought only four words, not too many words. Many words are quite familiar. That's what happens as you keep reading. And grammar consolidation. Effective English, I have brought five idioms, important idioms. And exam topics, error location. Again, exam topics here, para jumble. Today also have brought para jumble. And writing skill, if you write about election commission, definitely it will help because it goes with polity. Elections important. Let us have a look at the four words from today's editorial. Only paragon, you can say epitome, you can say very good, Naidu. Here, hasty. Hasty also goes with everyday English. Hasty move, hasty actions, done with excessive speed or urgency, hurried. There is a saying in English, what is it? Haste makes waste. Never try to do things in a hurry. Envisage, a formal word, goes with projects and policies. Part of speech verb. Contemplate or conceive of as a possibility or a desirable future event. Contemplate, more than contemplate, conceive of as a possibility. You imagine something, you visualize something, you may think it is going to happen, it is possible. Then we say envisage, an important word. That's right, Naidu. and also Tripura Sundari, haste makes waste. Grave has two different meanings. One, graveyard, that is a different thing altogether. But in this context, grave, part of speech adjective, urgent and very bad or serious, a grave problem, serious problem. Competence, only one E. Competence, part of speech noun, and what is a related word, compete. Competency, one more form you have to know. Usually we use this form. Competence also right. The ability or skill to do something successfully or efficiently. Competency means expertise, the skill, the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. And when you go to the private sector, they use the expression core competency. Every company has the core competency, means the actual skill they depend on. That is known as core competency. These are the words. Now let us ask the question, what is this editorial about? Very good. Harshavardhana Junior College. This editorial is about concerns regarding the selection process of members of the Election Commission of India and the potential impact, possible impact on the independence of the commission. There are two things here, the commission as such, and also the selection process. If the selection process is fair, no issues. If the selection process of members is not fair, then it may make a negative impact on the independence of the commission. Two aspects have been conveyed in a subtle manner. The tone of the editorial is critical and concerned. Because of the selection aspect, it is concerned. Otherwise, critical. Something is not correct, critical. How does it start? Selection and election. What does it mean? Selection of members of election commission related to upcoming elections. The Election Commission of India appointment process. It's all about the election commission and appointment process, appointment of the members. But what is the main idea? The election commission needs a selection panel free of executive bias. This is the issue. What is the issue? The selection panel, whoever is going to, well, the jury, the committee, the panel, all these are collective nouns, and members, they all have members. Whoever is going to select the members of the election commission, they should not be influenced by the executive, they should not be forced by the executive, they should be free of executive bias. Bias is a simple word, but generally what is a word that goes with effective English? Prejudice. Exactly. Executive bias. Here there's something very important. If you take any government, we have three wings. The judiciary. Before all the three wings, we have to use a definite article, the, though exceptions are there based on the pattern. The executive. Because here you don't see the. Based on the pattern, you have to decide. That's what I call contextual awareness. The legislature. The judiciary, they have given many a time, the executive, the legislature. This you have to recollect. The quick, if not hasty, if not the quick, if not quick, hasty. Filling up of two vacancies in the Election Commission of India, ECI, has attracted justified criticism. Something has happened. What has happened? Two members have been appointed, and this has been done in a haste, and obviously when something is done in a haste, people get criticized, and this criticism can be justified. Justified criticism, an important expression. When you criticize someone, it should be justified. You should be able to justify. We always say you should always justify your actions. Means what? Whatever you say, whatever you do, it should be correct. When you do something, people ask, why have you done? You say, this is the reason why I have done, and the reason is a valid reason. Then you can say, I can justify my actions. Here, the criticism is justified, has attracted present perfect. The multi member body got two new members. It's all about the appointment of two new members. The multi-member body got two new members within days of the resignation of Arun Goyal, an election commissioner, whose appointment itself came in the midst of a constitution bench hearing for a truly independent process of selecting members of the panel that conducts and supervises India's elections. What is the role of this election commission to conduct and supervise India's elections, which is an uphill task because India is a very big country. Across the length and breadth of the country, they have to conduct, not an easy task. This sentence talks about it's a panel and two multi-member body. It's a multi-member body. Two new members within days of resignation. They have been appointed. The multi-member body got two new members within days of the resignation of a particular member. Who is that? Commissioner Arun Goyal, an election commissioner, and his appointment itself was controversial. Whose appointment itself came in the middle of a constitution bench hearing for a truly independent process of selecting members. Here, selecting members, selection process should be an independent process. That is the main idea. It should be free of executive bias or executive prejudice. The main idea is being touched of selecting members of the panel, and this panel conducts and supervises India's elections. Critics are not wrong. Editorial says the criticism can be justified. Then obviously it has to say the critics are right, the critics are not wrong when they point out that the act setting out the process of selecting the chief election commissioner and other ECs appeared to fall short of an important expression. It says critics are not wrong when they point out that critics pointed out something and they're not wrong in that. What is that they have pointed out? The act is setting out the process of selecting, the act setting out, making it happen, the process of selecting the chief election commissioner and other election commissioners appeared to fall short of, means did not live up to the expectations, appeared to fall short of the sort of independence the Constitution Bench verdict of March 2023 envisaged. A particular Constitution Bench verdict, it fell short of that verdict, and this verdict is related to independence of the selection process. When it comes to selecting the members, they should be independent and they should not be influenced by the executive. It fell short, fall short of, to not meet the expectations or the standards. An important expression. Very good, Divya, I appreciate. The selection took place at a time when a petition challenging the validity of the act was about to be taken up for hearing. The act was about to be taken up, the validity of the act was about to be taken up for hearing in the court. Same time, the selection took place, that again not acceptable. The selection took place at a time when a petition appeal challenging the validity of the act was about to be taken up for hearing. It is in the court, was about to be taken up for hearing. At this juncture, the selection took place, and that is definitely not the right time. To add to the unfortunate set of circumstances, Mr. Goyal's resignation for personal reasons has gone unexplained. At the same time, the election commissioner's resignation, Mr. Goyal's resignation for personal reasons, has gone unexplained, has gone, again, present perfect, unexplained. What are these personal reasons? Not explained and not easy to guess also. It is a matter of grave concern, serious concern, that an election commissioner whose term was set to go on for a few more years, is supposed to be in power for some more years, should choose to resign, but he chose to resign just days before the commission finalized the Lok Sabha election schedule. Something is a grave concern. What is a grave concern? Elections are fast approaching, and at this stage, the election commissioner resigns. The timing is wrong, and definitely it results in grave concern. It is a matter of grave concern, serious concern, that an election commissioner whose term he has got still time, whose term was set to go on for a few more years. He could have continued, but he chose to resign just 2 days before the commission finalized the Lok Sabha election schedule. Before the election schedule, resigning surprised him. It goes without saying. I use this quite often. It means what? It is quite obvious. It goes without saying, or it is quite obvious that the discussion on the process selecting the ECs has no bearing on the competence or suitability of Gyanesh Kumar and Sukhbir Singh Sandhu, the two new ECs. It goes without saying. What goes without saying? The discussion on the process selecting the election commissioners has no bearing on the competence. It is not related to the competence or suitability of Gyanesh Kumar and Sukhbir Singh Sandhu, the two new election commissioners. The real problem may lie with the law that Parliament chose to enact last year in response to the Supreme Court of India questioning the absence of any legislation since the inception of the Constitution as required under Article 324, laying down an appointment process for the ECs. A very lengthy sentence, and you have to read once or twice to understand. What is the real problem? May lie, editorial not sure, may means possibility, chances are more. With the law itself, perhaps there's a problem. That Parliament chose to enact last year in response to the Supreme Court of India questioning the absence of any legislation since the inception of the Constitution as required. Something is required under Article 324, and that is absent, that has been questioned, laying down an appointment process for the election commissioners. The court's emphasis was on the Election Commission of India's independence. This is again the main issue from the executive so that the elections the panel conducts are truly free and fair. Why does the editorial say the selection process should be fair, it should be free of at the executive bias so that fair elections can be conducted? That is the main objective. The court's emphasis was on the ECI's independence from the executive so that they should not depend on the executive, so that the elections the panel conducts are truly free and fair. That is very important. Lie, lay, you have to recollect. Towards that end, to meet that objective, it sought to fill the vacuum by an interim arrangement under which the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India formed the selection committee to choose the CEC and ECs. To meet that objective, something has been sought. It sought to fill the vacuum because there is no body as such. It sought, sought to fill the vacuum by an interim arrangement. Interim means what? Temporary, for the time being, under which the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India, all the three, formed the selection committee to choose the CEC, Chief Election Commissioner, and election commissioners. However, it was meant to be in place only until Parliament enacted a law. That's why the word interim has been used. It was meant to be in place only until Parliament enacted a law. In response, the government enacted a law that constituted a panel comprising the Prime Minister and any union minister. This was a proposed one, but what happened in reality? Contrasting information. However, it was meant to be in place only until Parliament enacted a law. But actually, what happened in response? The government enacted a law that constituted a panel comprising, an important word, comprising of, not correct, consist of, you can use, comprise does not take the preposition of, comprising the Prime Minister and any union minister besides the leader of the opposition or the leader of the largest single party in the opposition. Now, what is the question before the court? The question now before the court is whether a committee in which the executive has a 2-1 majority can be a truly independent authority. True, here The body, if you take 2-1 majority, two from the current regime, and who are the two? A panel comprising the Prime Minister, one, and any union minister, two. Besides the leader of the opposition, only one. And with a body where two belong to one particular party and one the other party, can it be independent, and can it be truly independent authority? That is a question. The argument that prime ministers have always been selecting the CEC and the EC seems attractive, have always been selecting present perfect continuous, but ultimately an executive driven process has to yield to one more rooted in the constitutional principle of having an independent body to hold free and fair elections. Even if the CJI, Chief Justice of India, as an institutional head, might not be the person most suited to be a part of the selection process. It is a stand taken by the editorial that Chief Justice of India, as an institutional head, might not be, chances are less, the person most suited to be a part of the selection process. It doesn't have to be part of the selection process and might not be the person most suited, means not required. And it talks about the role of the Chief Justice of India. It ends on that particular note. A few sentences you have to read twice or thrice, only then you can comprehend. And it is important for those who are preparing for civil services, they have to read carefully. And coming to comprehension skill, answer this one. What is the main concern addressed in the editorial regarding the selection process of members of the Election Commission of India? The lack of competence and suitability of the newly appointed members, that is not an issue. That has no bearing, clearly it says. The potential bias in the selection process due to executive influence, hold this one. The absence of legislative framework governing the selection process. The absence of any interim arrangement for selecting members of the election commission. No, it has no bearing. Answer is not A. The potential bias in the selection process due to executive influence. Answer is B, not A. What recent event prompted criticism and scrutiny of selection process for election commissioners in India? The resignation of the chief election commissioner, the enactment of a new law governing the selection process, the quick appointment of two new members to the election commission, the announcement of Lok Sabha election schedules. A recent event. Always look at the key words. Which recent event? C is the answer. The quick appointment of two new members to the election commission. What is the primary concern raised by the editorial regarding the composition of the selection committee for election commissioners? This time it is about composition of selection committee. The lack of representation from the judiciary, the absence of any political leaders in the committee, the dominance of the executive branch in the committee, the insufficient representation of state governments. Here it is not about the lack of representation from the judiciary. The editorial opines not required the Chief Justice of India's role, and based on that, the dominance of the executive branch in the committee. What is the ratio of the body? Two from the current regime, one from the opposition. That definitely it cannot be truly independent. The dominance of executive branch in the committee. C is the answer. No, C is the answer. According to the editorial, what is the fundamental issue with the current legislative framework governing the selection process of election commissioners? It lacks clarity on the qualifications, no. It fails to address the role of the Chief Justice, no. It does not provide adequate safeguards for the independence of the election commission. It's all about the independence of election commission to conduct fair elections. Answer is C. But no one has responded. No one has responded. Question number 4C. Very good. Perfect. What does the editorial suggest is the ultimate objective of ensuring an independent selection process for election commissioners? Why should the selection process be independent and independent selection process for election commissioners? What does it suggest? To empower state governments in the appointment process, to ensure the competency and suitability of appointed members, to uphold the constitutional principle of holding free and fair elections. Fifth one also C is the answer. Perfect. Very good. I have launched two courses. One is the foundation course in English, the other one, the foundation course for all exams in bilingual Telugu mostly. And this is the foundation course, touches all the basics. It is for 1 month, 24 sessions, but there'll be a support for 6 months integrated course in the form of the Hindu editorial and the mocks plus special videos. There are two videos. Have please watch those videos. You get all the details. Let us go to questions based on exam topics. The first five questions: error location. Read the first one and try to spot the error. The ECI must know that all eyes are on it when it comes to assessing the biggest democratic exercise in the planet. The ECI must know that all eyes are on it. Nothing wrong, subject pronoun agreement. When it comes to a standard expression, assessing the biggest democratic exercise in the planet. Excuse me. No, no, no. Nothing wrong with the third part. No one has got it right. No, no, no. No one has got it right. I'm surprised. It's an easy question. Here, the ECA must know that nothing wrong, must. Personal obligation or obligation imposed by the speaker, and to convey the idea compulsory. All eyes are on it. All eyes are on you. Standard expression, nothing wrong. When it comes to assessing, nothing wrong, standard expression. When it comes to reading, when it comes to writing, when it comes to assessing, standard expression. The biggest democratic exercise on the planet, not in the planet. We don't say in the planet, in the earth, not correct. On, we use a preposition on the planet, on the planet earth, on the earth. No, no, this is not the answer. Answer is fourth part, there's an error. That's why I tell students read the sentences meticulously. One word is enough. I thought you people would get it right. No one has got it right, surprisingly. Now I see one student, Narsimha, says a fourth part. That is right. Go to question number 2. Simultaneous elections and other contentious questions form the backdrops for the long drawn election season, the largest such exercise anywhere in the world. Simultaneous elections are very good. Harshvardhana Junior College, immediate response and got it right. Simultaneous elections and other contentious questions. Two things. Contentious questions means the controversial questions form the backdrops. Only backdrop, not backdrops. That is not correct. Here we have to use a noun in the singular form. Backdrop, background, only singular. We cannot use a plural form. There's an error in the second part. It is related to noun. First question is related to preposition on the planet, and this one is related to noun, singular form, plural form. Go to question number 3. By cutting off its ties with the JJP, which draw its support largely from the agrarian class Jat community, the BJP is yet again focusing on the electoral dialectics of Jats and non-Jats in Haryana. Easy, but you got to read carefully. No one has answered question number 3. Nothing wrong with cut off, disconnect, that's right. But try to spot the error. No one has responded. But what is wrong with the second part? That you have to mention that by cutting off its ties with the JJP, and after that you have a clause. This clause goes with JJP, which is singular. And because the subject is singular, sentence is in present tense, affirmative form, we should add S or ES to the verb. What is the verb here? Draw. Draw is not correct. Draws. JJP draws its support. There is an error in the second part. Very good. Not drawn, draws. It's a fact. Go to question number 4. Prepole alliances need ideological affinities and aligned values, like post-pole relationships that can run in the short term solely on the desire to share the spoils of political office. Draws is a word. Draw plus S. Because the subject is third person singular, there is a clause about the subject, and that should be in singular. That means we should add S or ES to the verb. This is a tough question if you don't read carefully. Nothing wrong with the fourth part, Divya. Nothing wrong. No, nothing wrong. Solely on the desire to share the spoils of political office. Spoils of political office, nothing wrong with that. Some disturbance, nothing wrong. Here, always contextual aware. This is a bit difficult. I don't think a lot of students can answer purely based on contextual awareness. When you read the sentence, you have to understand the sentence talks about two things, one pre-poll, the other one post-poll. And it talks about two different features. Some qualities go with pre-poll, and some qualities go with post-poll, alliances, relationships, synonyms. And they're not similar, they're opposite. When it is when the sentence talks about two things which are contradictory or contrasting, we cannot use the word like. Here, unlike, what is the right word? Unlike is the right word. Prepole alliances need ideological affinities and aligned values, unlike postpole relationships that can run in the short term solely on the desire to share the spoils of political office. Pre-poll alliances need ideological affinities and aligned values before elections. But after elections, post-poll relationships that can run in the short term solely on the desire to share the spoils of political office. Nothing wrong. Solely on the desire to, or solely on something. It's a noun, obviously. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. In this context, it is a noun. Go to the last question. Fears that shell companies and loss-making entities may be used to buy the electoral bonds and donate them to parties seem to have came true. This is an easy one in my opinion. Should not be a problem. Fears that shell companies and loss-making entities may be used to buy the electoral bonds and donate them to parties seem to have. This is a non-finite verb expression from here to here. To have won, to have written, to have come. Here the verb should be in past participle form. Come, came, come. What is the right word here? Come. Seem to have come true. Fourth part, there is an error. Has anyone got all the five correct? Read this para jumble, not that difficult, but there are how many parts? Six parts. You got to be a little careful. Elimination approach you should get, should not be that difficult. The announcement, definite article cannot be the first one. What is this about? Based on that, you decide. The ruling BJP's call for one nation, or perhaps hold this one, hold this also. While India has enough reasons, hold this also. This cannot be, there's no subject. What is the first one here? Durga Rao, are you talking about the para jumble? Is that the response for para jumble? If you say yes, you got it right. B is the first one. The general election to the 18th Lok Sabha will be spread over 7 phases and 44 days, with the counting of votes scheduled for June 4th. It is an announcement. The announcement marks, based on that, obviously, second one should be A. The announcement about the elections, general election, the announcement makes a formal beginning, but campaigning has become a perennial affair of Indian politics, as if to vindicate the ruling BJP's call for one nation, one poll, which it argues will reduce the time spent in electioneering. This is a continuation, as if to vindicate, prove someone right. The ruling BJP's call for one nation, one poll. It goes with that idea. Based on that, BAC. Very good. After that, what? Simultaneous elections. One nation, one poll means what? Simultaneous. Based on that, this is a clue. Simultaneous elections and other contentious questions form the backdrop for the long drawn election season, the largest such exercise anywhere in the world. Based on that, here D and F form one pair. Simultaneous elections and other contentious questions form the backdrop for the long drawn election season, the largest such exercise anywhere in the world. While India has enough reasons to be proud of its vibrant democracy and exhilarating, exciting diversity, and honest, an important expression, introspection can be sobering. What is the last one? All the five correct. Wonderful, Durga Rao. I appreciate. BAC, DF, E is the last one. Try to get these idioms also correct. Take a back seat, swim with the tide, Pandora's box, pent up emotions, ill at ease. Very good, Tripura Sundari. All five correct. Try to get idioms also, all five correct. Take a back seat, swim with the tide, Pandora's box, pent up emotions, ill at ease. No one has responded yet. 1D. I see SP Gowda, first one to respond. To take a back seat, be in the background. Very good. Yes, Tripura Sundari and others also. Swim with the tide. Do as a majority do. Go with the what others do. E is the answer. Pandora's box, a collection of evils. Pent up emotions, repressed, controlled, suppressed emotions. Ill at ease, Not comfortable. Worried, uneasy, uncomfortable, not comfortable. B. Has anyone got all the five correct? If we say yes, that is good. You should be happy. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. And today I think it's only 7:40 to a little early. Anyhow, have a nice day and do remember to subscribe and share. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much.